All right. Welcome all. Thanks for coming tonight. My name is TK Kuegler. For those of you who don't know me, which I think everyone on the list knows me. And now many of you I've actually met in person over the last few years. So that's pretty wonderful as well. Tonight, we're going to talk about the 5 broodmares that we just added to the broodmare band at the Keeneland November 2022 auction. That is, I think, has one more day left, or did it conclude today? It's almost over, one way or the other. And we were very active. I think when people write the history of Wasabi Ventures stables and what we've done, and many years from now, maybe they put it in book form. I think this will be one of those pivotal moments in our history, and one of those things where the ball moved substantially forward in what we're trying to accomplish. For sure. And it's exciting tonight to share that. And all I can tell you, the last thing I'll say before we get into the meat of things here, is that this was a project, and doing a sale like this constitutes many, if not hundreds of man hours put into the project, and the research that goes into it might even be multiple hundreds of hours when you collectively think about all the people that are working on it on our side to come to these 5 broodmares that we were able to purchase, I think, at great value. And it's exciting to be a part of that and to watch that happen. And it's going to be exciting to talk you through what we did and what we ended up with here and why we're excited. So I will say, if any of you have questions, please feel free to use the chat function. It might be below for you, but ask questions anytime you want. We'll try to answer those. And without further ado, let's jump in, and we're going to talk about our very first one, Zarella, who is in Foal to Street Boss. And with that, I hand it over to our one and only George Adams, who will give you a little story about what makes this acquisition special.
Yeah. So when TK said that we were going to go to this sale and upgrade the broodmare band, we targeted specific breeding programs that we wanted to try and get mares out of. Juddmonte and Godolphin being 2 of the big ones who have a tendency to put some of their cast-offs who, with huge operations like they have to sell some mares every year just to make room for the new ones coming off the racetrack. Those mares have been productive for new owners throughout sort of the history of those operations. We came away from this sale with 2 Godolphin mares. The first of them being Zarella, who is, as TK said, in Foal to Street Boss. Zarella herself is a daughter of Ghost Zapper, who was the horse of the year a little while back, sort of Flightline before Flightline was Flightline. He has since gone on to be an excellent sire, and as a broodmare sire, he is responsible for the dam of Justify. So he has some qualifications as a sire of broodmares. Zarella is a 2018 mare, so she is only 4 years old. You'll notice all of these mares that we got are young mares from young families. That is part of what we were specifically targeting. Mares that, as they stand right now, as their families are right now, would slot into the upper tier, if not the very top of our broodmare band, but with room to improve even further. So in the case of Zarella, she is the first foal out of her dam, whose name is Corella. Corella is a daughter of Tappet, who is a 3-time leading sire, the sire of Flightline, among other horses. And Corella is a half sister to a horse called Bernardini, who was a Preakness winner. He was the Eclipse champion 3-year-old, and he has since gone on to be a leading sire and leading broodmare sire himself. So Zarella's dam is a little bit more than a half sister to Bernardini, because Bernardini is by AP Indy, and Corella is by Tappet, who's a grandson of AP Indy. Zarella is the first foal out of Corella. Her second foal is a filly by Curlin, who was a winner earlier this year before being bred to Street Boss also. She is still owned by Godolphin. Zarella's 2-year-old half-brother is a son of Into Mischief. His name is Eldest Son, and he broke his maiden wire-to-wire for Brendan Walsh and Godolphin at Indiana about 3 days before we bought Zarella. So this is a young family. It is a deep family, and it is an active production. She has a Ghost Zapper yearling colt, so a full brother to Zarella. She has a Street Boss foal of this year, so that foal will be very closely related to Zarella's foal that she delivers in February. Should be early to mid-February, so a nice early cover date. And then Corella was bred back to Cantharos. So like I said at the outset, the idea of a mare like this was a young mare who has a pedigree to fit at the top of our broodmare band, but with a young sister and a young dam still in production, getting bred to very good stallions for an ownership group like Godolphin. There is tons of room for that page to get even better around her. And every reason to think that she will be an excellent producer herself. She's in foal to Street Boss, who is a Godolphin stallion. He is actually the sire. He sired Catherine Sophia, who was a Kentucky Oaks winner, Maryland-bred Kentucky Oaks winner a few years ago. He's a very solid sire. He's actually the sire of the best horse in the Southern Hemisphere right now, a horse called Animo, who Godolphin campaigns in Australia. He's a 7 furlong to 10 furlong type horse, which they don't make a lot of those. And Animo is now has won more grade/group 1s in Godolphin Silks than any other horse in their long history. And he's a son of Street Boss. This is a strong Nick rating on the Trunick system. It's a cross that has worked for Street Boss. He works very well with Northern Dancer line mares, which Zarella is. Ghost Zapper is by Awesome Again, who is by Deputy Minister, a grandson of Northern Dancer. So lots to like here. She's a good-sized mare herself. Very, very good-bodied mare, correct, and pretty gray mare, which everybody always loves a gray. So lots to like about her, lots to look forward to with this family, and keep Eldest Son in your stable males, and we'll see if he can't pick up some black type for the family here in the near future.
Yep. And yeah, one thing you're going to hear is a constant theme through here, and this was one of what we were trying to accomplish with this sale, is that we are buying already great pages, physical, as good at physicals and great pages, and as conformationally correct as we possibly could, but with a vision that we're actually, where the value really comes in is that all of these pages come from such deep families that the pages could actually improve drastically. In a couple of these cases, you know, you could get an order of magnitude value increase in just the next couple of years if the family itself continues to improve. So you're going to hear that as a constant theme as we go through all these. What's available for Zarella? Let's talk about this. Right now, there's one grad spot left. If you're not familiar with the grad program, the graduate program for broodmares at stables, that allows you to be a full owner, a 20% owner. You can check that out on Slack. It's been posted many times. There's an entire channel dedicated to being a graduate. But coming available a week from today, we also have an individual foal offering. The 2023 Street Boss that George has just talked to you about is going to be available. Details have been posted on Slack. I think this one is going to sell out very quickly. For those of you who have participated in the past in individual foal offerings, this is going to be one that sells out on the quicker side of things, I'm fairly certain. So I would be ready to jump in that day if you're looking to be a part of this. And once again, you can learn about the individual foal offering on Slack. Go
Mark,
ahead.
Street Boss is they do run more turf than dirt in Australia. Street Boss is not exclusively turf though. He himself was a dirt and all weather. He won some grade ones out in California when they had the all weather. But he has sired plenty of dirt stakes winners. I mean, Catherine Sophia was an Oaks winner from his first or second crop. So he gets plenty of both. And similarly, the female family has versatility, which will be useful in especially in a program like Maryland, where we run plenty of turf races at Laurel, Colonial, all over the Mid-Atlantic. So should be a foal that has some versatility to it.
Yeah. And George, did you, we didn't talk about this on the screen. Did Eddie, and even though the ideas aren't 100% solidified, who might be next up for Zarella as a mating partner?
Highly motivated. The new Into Mischief that's going to Airdrie is the one that I sort of have at the top of the list for her right now. The Stormcat Goes Zabercross is what gave us Justify. I stopped and saw Highly Motivated on my way out of town. They weren't showing him yet. He'd just gotten to the farm that day, but they let me look in the stall at him. He's a great big strapping horse, sort of more Maximus Mischief than Golden Sense as far as the sons of Into Mischief go. Big pretty horse. Mike Ryan loved him, gave him great ratings when he bought him as a weanling. Track record holder at 2, track record holder at 4, 6.5 furlongs to a mile and an eighth. Think he should be very popular at a place like Airdrie. Should be a good fit for Zarella.
Very cool. Before we hop into the next horse, our horses, Blow My Budget is going into the gate at Penn. This is a 6 furlong race, so it'll be over, in a little over a minute. So let's, I'm going to take a quick pause, watch the race, because I think a bunch of people are watching the race. So this is going to be your racing interlude, and you'll get to hear me cheering or commenting as the race is going on, I'm fairly certain. So they're in the post as we speak. And they broke, and Budget broke fairly well. He's in the one hole on the rail. 7's going to break out, get the early lead no matter what we did here. I would expect Budget to make a move somewhere in the start of the turn if he's going to do something tonight. So we're going to find out. He is about 5.5 lengths from the back, but he is in last at this point, as expected. Still has the rail, hasn't given up the rail at this point. So he's getting that inside trip, and we're going to know in about 2 seconds if he's going to make a late run here. Still in last, but about 6.5 lengths from the front as we speak. And he is making a move here. So let's see if he can get to the rail in that short pen stretch and get up for a piece of this, because he's still a little farther back. So, but Tyler Connor, who's up, has got him moving. Might get up. Definitely not going to finish last, but I think we're going to finish 5th here. So not a great night for Budgie here. So we'll regroup after this one and see what we're going to do. But that's 2 bad races in a row for Budgie after a win. So all right, I'll put that down. All right, let's go on to the next. The interlude is now over, so let's jump over to American Thriller. All right, George, and this one you got new news on even as we speak, so I'll let you jump in.
Yes, so American Thriller, another young mare. She's a 2019, so she's just 3 years old. She is a daughter of Triple Crown winner American Pharaoh. She is out of an Uncle Mo mare called Thrilled, who is also the dam of a 2-year-old full sister to American Thriller, who is breezing at Fair Hill. There's a yearling by Justify out of the mare, then a foal by American Pharaoh, and the mare was bred back to Justify. So Thrilled has been mated exclusively with Triple Crown winners since producing American Thriller. That's what we're talking about when we talk about pipelines, right? Justify looks like he might be the real deal. American Pharaoh has 4 Grade 1 winners this year, which I think is second most of all stallions. Suffers a little bit because they're kind of spread out. He's had a Japanese one, he's had a French one, but he has had a couple of US ones as well. Very good stallion, and the page is deep behind Thrilled. Thrilled herself was a stakes winner, multiple graded placed. She is out of a mare called Excited, who was a Grade 3 winner, is also the dam of Beside Yourself, who is a current graded stakes caliber filly for Todd Pletcher and Michael Tabor. And it goes back to the next dam as a mare called Path of Thunder, who's a full sister to Spain, who won the Breeders' Cup Distaff a few years ago. Excuse me, like with Zarella, who's a product of the Godolphin program, American Thriller was bred by Coolmore, who stand American Pharaoh and who have campaigned Thrilled, Excited, Path of Thunder, and many members of this family. So again, a young family. American Thriller is a 2019. Her Damn Thrilled by Uncle Mo is only a 2013. So Her Dam is just going to be turning 10 this year. So that's a lot of years of production left for Her Dam to make this page look even better around American Thriller. She's a great big mare, big strapping 16-3 already. She never raced. She was sold as a racing or broodmare prospect, and apparently had been breezing relatively. I'm sorry, she was sold as a broodmare prospect. She had been breezing relatively recently. It does not appear that she is injured, but they might just not have wanted to go through the rigmarole of submitting the x-rays to get her qualified as a racing or broodmare prospect, when they probably felt her value was as a race mare. Excuse me. Because of her size and her pedigree, we thought that she might make a good fit for a stallion called Candy Ride, who is one of the top stallions in the country, has been for a long time. Was a track record holder, Grade 1 winner of the Pacific Classic, and the sire of Gun Runner, among other horses. We have been approved for a full share with Candy Ride, which means that American Thriller will be bred to Candy Ride this year. For her first foal, we will not owe a stud fee on that. And when we sell the foal, we will split those proceeds with Lane's End, who will consign that foal and sell it on our behalf. This is an amazing way to start this filly's breeding career. It's a plus Nick. Candy Ride with Empire Maker has already produced a filly like Separation of Powers, who is a Grade 1 winner. Candy Ride also works with Indian Charlie, who is the sire of Uncle Mo, which is American Thriller's broodmare sire. And then he also works great with Candy Ride, with Stormcat. Candy Ride works with Stormcat, who is the broodmare sire of American Pharaoh. And then Path of Thunder is by Giant's Causeway. That's the third dam of American Thriller. So everything here lines up with A plus and A Nicks. Should be a really great match. Candy Ride is a smaller stallion, has a tendency to throw smaller foals. So when they found out that this was a great big mare who matched up on pedigree and has that size to him, they went ahead and gave us the foal share to him. So that's pretty exciting. Yes, Mark, the mares will foal in Maryland and then be bred back in Kentucky.
Yep. Just how we've done it really since our existence. That's pretty much how we've always operated. So there is one grad spot left for American Thriller, and the The individual foal offering, the Candy Ride foal offering, hopefully Candy Ride, assuming that catches and all that works out as planned. But the great news, as George pointed out, we are approved for that deal. For those of you that don't know how these deals sort of work, you actually have to be approved for them. This is a mare that if it wasn't this mare, there's not much chance that we would have gotten approved. So you actually have to have the right mare to pull off a deal like this. And but that individual foal offering will be available in the spring once American Thriller checks into in foal. You know, once that is done, that's one of those safeguards of the individual foal offering. But the grad spot is available till the end of the month if anyone takes that. So next up, we've got Floral Hall, and who is already in foal to frosted when we acquired her.
Yes, and this one was one I was excited about, and we actually were willing to go quite a bit higher for her than we ended up having to go. Which is always nice. She is another young mare. She's a 2019. She's the only mare actually out of the group, though, who is not out of a young dam. So her dam is actually a 1999, and this is the dam's last foal. But this is another mare that we bought from Godolphin, a Godolphin homebred. Pregnant to Frosted, who is a Godolphin homebred and one of their stallions. Godolphin still have 3 of Floral Hall's sisters in their broodmare band, and one of those mares' daughters is also in the Godolphin broodmare band, and they are being bred to stallions like Maxfield, Ghost Zapper, and Sky Mesa, with foals by Into Mischief, Nyquist, Hard Spun, Ghost Zapper, Street Boss, and McLean's Music, and Street Sense on the ground in the last few years out of these sisters. So even though it is not a young dam, it is still an active family with plenty of reason and opportunity for this family to have big updates around Floral Hall. Having said that, the first dam already takes up the full catalog page. If you look at the catalog page for Floral Hall, you only see her first dam, whose name was Painted Lady, on there. Painted Lady was a winner by Broad Brush. She is the dam of Grade 2 winner Skylighter, who is a stakes producer herself, of the Grade 3 placed Sky Painter. Both Skylighter and Sky Painter are in the Godolphin broodmare band now. Painted Lady is also the dam of stakes winner Speckled, who is the dam of Godolphin's current multiple graded stakes winner Pixelate, who just ran in the off the turf River City Stakes at Churchill day before yesterday. I think he finished 5th, but he's a turf horse and they left him in anyway. So he's still a hard knocker. He has earned over $1 million now. Speckled is still in the Godolphin broodmare band, as is Lady Lavery, who is another half sister, who is the dam of stakes winner Maru, already a stakes winning 2-year-old, Grade 3 placed 2-year-old, and Lady Lavery is still in the Godolphin broodmare band. One of the most exciting things about Floral Hall is that she is pregnant to Frosted, who was a very good racehorse. He has been a solid sire, but the reason he's exciting here is because Floral Hall herself is a half-sister to the stakes winner Cave Hill by Frosted. So her foal will be a 3/4 sibling to a stakes winner. In addition to the fact that Skylighter is a daughter of Sky Mesa, who is a son of Pulpit, as is Frosted's sire Tappet. And then Maru, who the stakes winner out of the half-sister, is also by Sky Mesa. So this is a family that has worked over and over with Pulpit line stallions, including Frosted himself. Floral Hall is pregnant to Frosted, and she is likely going to be bred back to a horse called Greatest Honor, who is a son of Tappet, that won a pair of Derby preps for Shug McGahee at Gulfstream. Was it last year? Last year. Very impressive turn of foot, big, strapping, gorgeous Tappet horse. out of a street cry mare from the Better Than Honor family. I think he's going to be a really really sexy $7,500 stallion at Spendthrift. Should fit Floral Hall pretty perfectly. She's a leggy, sort of deer-like mare. You can kind of see in the picture there. She's not the most robust animal. Plenty of size to her, just not super sort of buff. But we're going to breed her to greatest honor, and that foal should be just about perfect, hopefully.
So all the grad spots are sold out here, just so you know. So none of those are available, already taken. The individual foal offering will be up a week from yesterday. Details are up on Slack. I am certain that this one will sell out within a couple hours, given what I've already heard from folks. So this is one that if you're going to want to be a part of Floral Hall and the frosted foal, you're going to have to act quickly.
And she's in full on a early March cover, so that should be another early to mid February baby, a nice early baby.
Right, which means she also gets back to the breeding shed early, which is good.
Yes. So
for next year. All right, this one's George's might be George's favorite, and I will tell you a story before we go on gunslinging, and George will get into the details. I was on a plane, flying back, and left George in charge of the bidding. And we had talked in the morning. We had come up with prices for each one of them. For those of you who aren't familiar with sort of how I think about auctions, I set very hard prices. I write them in my book. You're on the tablet. And I personally, when I'm bidding, I never go over. The price is the price that we pre-establish, and we talk through it. And when I come up with a price, that's the price, and that's the end of it. It keeps you out of the moment. I'm on a plane, so George is bidding, and I get a message from George on the plane that we get the horse and that we had gone over. And he's like, I will make up the $5,000 difference, because he only went over by $5,000. And I told him, obviously, he doesn't have to do that. But that should tell you just how excited George is about gunslinging, and he'll explain why. But I'll let you do that.
In my defense, when you're in there in the room and you can feel when all you need is somebody else was sitting on her at 75,000. We were supposed to go to 72,000. They were there at 75,000. I could just feel that if I just hit it the one more time at 77, that was going to get it done. And it did. And she is the one that I am sort of most excited about. I guess she should be, since we spent the most money for her. Mark, I don't know that she suffered any injury. That they don't always sort of tell you that. Again, she's sold as a broodmare prospect rather than a racing or broodmare prospect, but that could have just been they didn't want to bother jumping through the hoops. She is sound. There's nothing that would indicate that she suffered an injury. Slingin is a daughter of Gunrunner, who is the best young stallion in the country right now. He's a horse of the year as a racehorse. He has 6 first crop grade 1 winners to his credit already, which is a historic number. He is going to stand for a private fee in 2023, but he is known to be the most expensive stallion in the country, more expensive even than Into Mischief. And they call him private because it doesn't matter what his stud fee is, because you can't get to him. They're going to breed their own mares to him, and then they're going to work deals with people who have the best mares. And the way that they used to do with Galileo, you only get in there if you're doing a full share, or you're some kind of sort of something else that really sweetens it for the folks who own Gunrunner. This filly ran a couple times. She earned $15,000. She did not hit the board. She is a half to a horse called Tap Daddy, who was a stakes winner and grade 3 placed here in the US, and then went to Venezuela and was a G1 winner and champion in Venezuela. She's a half to a stakes place winner called Total Tap by Candy Ride. And she is a full sister to a colt called Disarm, who was a TDN Rising Star this summer at Saratoga when he broke his maiden. Prior to that, the TDN they have a series they call Second Chances, in which they profiled Disarm. He finished third, I think, in his first race. And then they profiled him in this Second Chances thing, where they talked about how Steve Asmussen, every time anybody came to the barn this year, he pulled Disarm out to show them to him because he's the best looking horse they had in the barn. Disarm is listed in Vegas at 80-1 for the Derby next year. He is reportedly targeting the Fairgrounds series, which Steve Asmussen and Winchell like to use. And if Disarm wins the Derby, then Gunslingin's going to be worth way more than the $77,000 that we paid for her. Her family, she is out of a mare called Easy Tap, who is a daughter of Tappet, that the Winchells paid $300,000 for as a yearling. She won a couple races. She's a young mare also. She has after Disarm, the 2-year-old of this year, she has a foal of this year, a colt by Gunrunner, and then was bred back to Silver State, who's a young stallion at Claiborne that the Winchells raced, who won the Met Mile before he retired. It goes back to White Jasmine is the third dam. She's the dam of a mare called Till Forbid, a horse called Cinch. It's a nice deep family, like all of these mares, with those chances for an active update sometime soon. We don't know yet what we are going to breed her to next year. We are looking at the possibility of a full share with her as well. It will not be with Candy Ride because that's her grandsire, so that would be a little bit close inbreeding. But somebody in that same kind of tier, hopefully, is the plan. She is a big stout mare, pretty correct, obviously very flashy, pretty exciting. Let's all root for Disarm on the Derby Trail this year.
Yeah, George will tell you that Disarm, even before this, was his Derby pick. So
I have messages I sent to friends when that horse broke his maiden this summer that he was my Derby horse. After Echo again broke his maiden and everybody was raving about him, I said Disarm was still going to be mine.
Yeah. So, and going back to the, what I had said earlier on the first mare, a lot of what we are looking for here was that big, active, well-supported family. And this is a great example. And it's about that quality level that we purchased here, with the ability to find value in that they could explode in value. When George says if Disarm would win the Derby, frankly, if Disarm wins a Derby prep on the trail here and gets to the Derby, it's very possible that gunslinging would go up by an order of magnitude in value, given the situation. So that's what we were looking for here, and we look through all in the book to look for these things. How much does family weigh versus performance in a mare? It's like all things, Mark. You have to weigh a total package. The performance of the broodmare and as a running, its physical conformation. It's from a correctness standpoint, what may or may not get passed on. From a size standpoint, the family, all of those things kind of weigh as a package. And unless you're going to spend 7 digits on a horse for a broodmare, you have to play sort of weighing these things. It's about buying a futures here. In this case, we bought horses that not only have we think a positive future, but also have a fairly positive presence. But to get one for $77,000, you have to maybe give up something here, and you give up something that she was not a great racehorse herself. Not that that's mattered in history very much.
Right. You want as much of all of them as you can get. Family, performance, and physical. We increased our budget for this sale. We still don't have the budget where we can go after, mares with all of them. When you're talking about that, you're talking about a mare like Gamine, who brought 7 million, or Midnight Bisu, who was closer to 5 than 7, but still pretty pricey. And like TK said, in these families, it's been proven throughout history that you don't, even the fillies out of these families that weren't the best racehorses are still capable of throwing a good runner themselves, and also a commercial foal, which is also part of the story that we're trying to tell with these mares also.
So Gunslinging has one available grad spot. Once again, closes at the end of the month. And the individual foal offering will be in the spring of 2023. Once, obviously, she checks into foal to whomever we are able to put her together with. We're working on some very sexy opportunities. I will tell you that. We're just kind of waiting for the approval on them. So Malati, and Malati might be getting a new name, but George, you can jump in on Malati.
Malati is, so we talked at the beginning about the programs that we wanted to target mares from. We got 2 Broodmares out of the Godolphin program. We got a mare out of the Coolmore program. We got a mare from the Winchell program, and Malati is from the Juddmonte program. She is a daughter of Kitten's Joy, who you'll remember was a turf champion, and not only a leading turf sire, but he was the leading general sire 2 or 3 times for the Ramseys, to sort of the shock of everyone except for Ken Ramsey. Very, very good stallion. They never sold well because he wasn't a correct horse, and he tended not to pass that along. We got a nice looking, pretty correct daughter of Kitten's Joy here. And she is a half-sister to a Group 1 winner and a mare called Announce, who is also a stakes producer. She is a half-sister to a Grade 3 winner called Mexican Gold, who was also placed in a Group 1 French Classic. Half to another stakes place winner who is a dam of a stakes winner, and to 2 other stakes placed winners. Her second dam is a half-sister to a pair of horses called Zaphonic and Zamindar, who were among the very early, very good horses for Juddmonte. So this is a family that Juddmonte has had for a while, and still has a bunch of. Malati has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sisters who are in production. 4 of them for Juddmonte. She also has a yearling sister by constitution still to come for her dam. And then her sisters have been bred and have foals by the likes of Arrogate, Not This Time, Pinatubo, Constitution, Street Sense, Constitution, Not This Time, and More Than Ready and Raging Bull coming through the pipeline in the next couple of years. So as black type filled as that page already is, this is another instance where we are looking for the foals of some of these sisters and the dam herself to be able to jump up and make this family look even better than it does at the moment, and it already looks pretty good. This is a family that is mostly turf, although there have been some dirt runners in there. Kitten's Joy is mostly turf, although he has gotten some dirt horses with the right opportunity. This is a filly we are probably going to send to either Nashville or Art Collector next year, who are a couple of horses who are bred for both surfaces. Nashville never ran on turf, but probably could have been a wicked turf sprinter. And Art Collector, people forget, but he is actually a stakes winner on turf, as well as a Grade 1 winner on dirt. And that versatility should play very nicely with Malati, whose name tomorrow might be Paw Prince instead.
Very, very good. Because it was unraced, we can rename it. And so we were trying to pick a name that's a little more pronounceable. Yeah, pronounceable. Cute. Yeah, exactly. Cute is always a key motivator for us too. Malati has both grad spots still available, closes end of the month. And once again, depending on once it checks into Foal in the spring to, one of the targets that George mentioned, we will offer the individual Foal offering at that point. And that covers our 5 broodmares. George, you had asked, you had used a phrase, and I was trying to find my notes, and I don't have my iPad with me. You had mentioned that gunslinging is pretty, to quote, your exact quote was pretty correct looking. Do you have your notes on the confirmation available on gunslinging?
I do. I can tell you the one thing you can see a little bit in that photo of her, she's a tad bit back at the knee, which is so if you sort of draw a line straight down from the front of her leg down, you can see her knee falls a little bit behind a straight line from the front of her ankle to sort of the front of her forearm. So that's called back at the knee. It's something that people sort of identify, but it's also something that Speightstown is back at the knee and passes it on, and it doesn't really bother people for the most part anymore. But it's something that you would sort of point out, and if somebody said, "Well, is she correct?" You said, "Well, she's a little back at the knee," but that's it, and she is not back at the knee badly, just a tad. And I believe that's about the only ding on her. But I can pull up the notes real quick. Yeah, great bone, tad back at the knee. And you can see the body on her. She's a long body. Nice deep shoulder. And
as Jesse often says about all of them, they are perfect in their imperfections. Almost no one is conformationally perfect, but
and when you go look at those stallions in Kentucky,
they're really not perfect. That's you'd be shocked.
Even Flightline turns in, and and it didn't stop him. Into Mischief is probably the worst conformed stallion in Kentucky. And he's the best, well, other than Gunrunner.
So super. Any other questions about the programs, the horses themselves, any of those things? Hopefully you're as excited as we are. I hope many of you get a chance to participate in either at a grad level, if that's possible for you, or in the individual foals, either one. I hope you, at least from tonight, got a real sense of how the program has moved forward as a whole. And for some of you, I know you're actually, you're watchers often and fans of what we're doing, even when you don't participate in all of the horses. And hopefully tonight you saw some of the excitement and the next level that we're moving the breeding program to. So I thank all of you for being a part of it, and I hope you have a great night, and I'll be posting the video online probably by tomorrow morning. Thank you all.